Hello and welcome. Tonight, Rivers State government claims ownership of 2 Bell helicopters seized by the Customs Service and handed over to the Nigerian Air Force yesterday. Victims of herdsmen attacks in Agatu community denounce peace agreement entered into between Benue and Nasarawa state governments, say they were not consulted. Benue government false claim. Leaders of the All Progressives Congress in the Southeast gather in Owerri, call for unity and selflessness as path to the development of the region. And condemnation trails President Donald Trump's executive order, halting flow of refugees into the U.S. from certain parts of the world.
And on business news tonight, Nigeria's banking sector records over 910 million transactions worth 65 trillion naira on electronic payment platforms in 2016. On sports news tonight, American tennis star Serena Williams wins Australian Open to reclaim world #1 ranking.
I'm Sulaiman Alede, and we begin tonight from North Central, where the victims of herdsmen attacks from Agatu community in Benue State have rejected the peace agreement brokered between them and Fulani herdsmen by the governors of Benue and Nasarawa states. The agitators under the Forum of Victims of Herdsmen Attacks in Agatu and the Benue South Peace Network hinged their stance on the grounds that the agreement will not foster reconciliation. The peace deal was to allow herdsmen to graze through parts of the land owned by the Agatu people, but the Benue state government insists the agreement was not forced on Agatu community.
We will see to now, rather the governor of Benue said, and every stakeholder, we must thrash out this before we leave. The meeting, we have started to make a town hall meeting. This more or less a town hall meeting where we give everybody the opportunity to air his or her own view.
Governor Tanko Almakura vehemently stating the ideas behind the peace deal brokered between Agatu farmers and the Fulani herdsmen. This is a town hall meeting to reconcile Agatu farmers and the Fulani herdsmen in Agatu, Benue State. In attendance are security agencies and the governors of Benue and Nasarawa states who are facilitating the reconciliation process. Part of the deal is to grant access to herdsmen to graze on the disputed Adapati Island through Odumagbo to Bagana, where Agatu fishermen also conduct their businesses. But that is unacceptable to the people of Agatu.
Recall that 2 agreements were signed recently under the arrangement of the Benue State government, giving out the whole Adapati Island in Agatu and various portions of Agatu mainland as grazing reserves and grazing routes, respectively. Grazing routes being Ogoto Adanyi, Ogumagbo, and Bagana. These agreements, with very frightening clauses, have come as a shocking development to all Nigerians and the right-thinking Africans, especially since the last incidents of massacre of Agatu people by these same terrorists. Nothing has been done by the Benue State government and the federal government towards commensurate rehabilitation, reconstruction, and compensation.
But the Benue State government says the deal was reached in order to prevent bloodshed.
The governors didn't just sit in government house in Makudi and fashion out the communique. They went to where the problem was. And you will also recall that the governors took a helicopter and went round. But this is an interim measure to create a passage because there is a build-up to another crisis which is imminent. So they need to allow a passage for the Fulanis to pass and go down.
The peace agreement reached in Makurdi by the governors was signed by the Oche Agatu and the Ardo Fulani, but the victims who are agitating for the nullification of the peace agreement say they were not carried along.
Now, barely a day after two Bell helicopters seized by the Nigerian Customs Service were handed over to the Nigerian Air Force in Lagos, the Rivers State government has claimed ownership of the aircraft. In a statement, the Rivers State Governor, Nyesom Wike, claims that he had written officially to the president asking that the helicopters, which were procured by the immediate past administration, be handed over to the Nigerian Air Force. The Deputy Comptroller General of Customs, Dan Ugo, had alleged that the importers of the helicopters failed to comply with the necessary import requirements and vowed to go after them. The state government wonders why the security agencies would resort to what the government describes as political blackmail when the facts contained in the documents of the two helicopters are not hidden. It adds that the helicopters were to be used to monitor the creeks in the state, but due to the refusal of the federal government to waive the import duties on them, which it claims the state could not afford, Governor Wike opted to have the helicopters handed over to the Air Force. Now, 4 suspected members of the gang allegedly responsible for the kidnapping of 3 school children and 5 staff of the Nigerian Tulip International School in Ogun State have been paraded in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory. Briefing journalists at the force headquarters, the Deputy Force Public Relations Officer, Mr. Moshood Jima, said that the 4 suspects were arrested at various locations in Delta, Ogun, and Lagos states.
In the course of investigation into the dastardly crime, 3 suspects, namely Are Philip Joel Kakando, a.k.a. General Kakando, a militant leader, Romeo Kanso, a.k.a. Raw, and Totki Okoda, who lives in the Visaman community behind the school and provided information about the victim to his gang, were trailed and arrested at different locations in Delta, Ogun, and Lagos State, respectively, for the criminal roles they play in the commission of the crime. They will be charged to court for kidnapping and terrorism under the Terrorism Prevention Act 2013. Further investigation and sustained pursuit of the matter by the intelligence response team led to the arrest of Bekiwe Agbojule, a.k.a. Prince Yellow, a principal suspect and one of the key members of the gang on the 25th of January 2017 at about 0700 hours in the morning. He will also be charged to court for kidnapping and terrorism under the Terrorism Prevention Act. Concerted efforts are being made to arrest the remaining suspects.
The United Nations World Food Programme seems upbeat regarding its humanitarian intervention in the 3 most troubled northeast states of Nigeria with the return of peace to the area. In Damaturu, the Yobe State capital, the executive director of the WFP, Ms. Etherine Kozin, said the agency's assistance is yielding results. She added that more assistance aimed towards improving agriculture, fighting hunger and poverty in the region will be provided.
The United Nations World Food Programme is one of the international aid agencies assisting with the rehabilitation of communities in the northeastern states as indigents struggle to rebuild their lives. Over 1 million lives will be changed for the better, of which 350,000 will be the first beneficiaries. After years of terrorist attacks by the Boko Haram group, northeastern states welcome any help they can get. The Yobe State authorities welcome the leader of the World Food Programme to the Government House, where she announces the agency's plans.
This month, WFP will support 1 million people in January who have been affected across all of the 3 states affected by Boko Haram. And here in Yobe State, we will support 350,000 people who are still in need of assistance.
The World Food Programme is not new to Yobe State, as confirmed by the State Deputy Governor.
With the return of relative peace, the government is now faced with new tasks and challenges of rehabilitation, reconstruction, and rebuilding of facilities destroyed by insurgents. On this note, I wish to, on behalf of government and good people of Yobe State, to solicit for your active partnership and collaboration.
Ms. Cousin appreciates the role played by the Yobe State Emergency Management Agency to assist the less privileged, assuring the state authorities that the WFP will work hard towards returning the affected states to peace, growth, and development. Then she took time out to visit the IDP's camp in Damaturu and left them with some comforting words.
Many of these children in September were suffering from acute malnutrition. They have 0 cases of acute malnutrition in this camp today. So it is about providing for all the humanitarian needs and working together with partners to ensure that these families not only have the ability to go home, but they have the opportunity to rebuild their lives.
Other gestures enjoyed by Yobe State from the WFP include the Center for Capacity Development on Humanitarian Studies, established at the Yobe State University to enhance the operation capacity of humanitarian activities within the Northeast Zone.
It's the end of the road for alleged dealers in fake mobile telephones in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, as officials of the Standards Organization of Nigeria have begun sealing off shops suspected to be involved in the practice. The Assistant Chief of Standards at the agency, Mr. Mamza Irimia, says further investigation will be conducted on the seized goods.
Interrogations by officials of the Standards Organization of Nigeria as they swing into action to get rid of fake phones in major markets in Abuja. The phones, according to some officials, have health and environmental implications. After some interrogations here, the shop is sealed, but the owner of the shop disagrees with their claims.
My sister called me that the Standard Organization was in my office. When I get to the office, the shop was locked. And I didn't have the reason. What is the reason? They say I sell a fake phone. I don't sell anything fake phone.
Officials of the Standard Organization moved to another shop, which was also sealed up. Here, their action meets resistance from some shop owners who ask officials of the Standard Organization to beam its light on the companies that supply them the phones and not vendors in this market.
The main problem here is that they are buying from somebody, and all these people are buying from Lagos. That are where the major importers is. At least you people should have started from those places, not here.
The story is also the same at a popular shopping complex in Abuja. Seizures were made. An official of the agency gives reason for their action.
These phones constitute so many issues. We have issue of safety and performance. We have issue of heat emittance. There is no evidence of radiation control. There is no evidence of it has been registered by SON. There is no evidence that SON has passed through conformity assessment offshore.
For now, SON officials say investigations are to be conducted on the seized products. Until then, Nigerians are advised to be wary of vendors of fake mobile phones.
The Ladokia Kintola University of Technology may have thrown its gates open to students after 8 months of closure, but it appears the school's troubles are far from over. The Academic Staff Union of the university insists that its members will not go back to work till their demands are met. Also made good its threats with empty lecture theatres as members of the union shunned the resumption directive of the owner states despite the 500 million naira paid to the school to offset some of the salaries.
A trip round the campus of Ladokia Kintola University of Technology in Ogbomoso, Oyo State does not indicate any form of academic activity. The lecture rooms are even more lonely as only a handful of students were seen chatting. Those who spoke to Channels Television appealed to government to find a lasting solution to the crisis rocking the school.
Let them pay the lecturers. They are human beings. They need money too. They have families. They have kids.
We are just begging Governor Ajumobi and Aregbesola to settle with ASU amicably.
The image maker of the institution attributed the low turnout to the fact that the campus is non-residential. He also expressed confidence that since the government had demonstrated good faith with the money paid to offset 2 months' salaries, the union and management would hold up their end of the bargain.
It was part of the agreement that after the payment of 2 months' salary, the union leaders will call their members, brief them towards resumption. And that is what we're doing, is in fulfillment of that agreement that we have resumed today.
The chairman of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, LAUTECH chapter, however, does not share that optimism, as he insists that his members will not resume duties until a concrete arrangement is made to offset the over 7 billion naira that is outstanding.
And if you look at the state or the status of the debt of the government to the university, it's to the tune of 7.6 billion. The academic staff, they are resolute.
Crisis.
The reports reaching us is that State of Osun is owing over 5 billion naira. Third, we're waiting for the reports of the committee being set up by the 2 owner states.
As the students eagerly await full resumption on Monday, the Academic Staff Union of University insists on a clear signal from the 2 owner states on how they will defray the outstanding over 7 billion naira and the sustenance of funding for the school forthwith.
In part 2 after the break, suspended Speaker of the Ondo State House of Assembly condemns action by her colleagues as new Speaker promises era of transparency. Stay with us.